Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City Worlds, and this another edition of the Breakdown, or the Breakdown Extra, we'll call it. We're back to recording some videos now as we're getting through the Euros. We're obviously going to have some scout reports with transfer linked players and stuff like that. But one video that I've been kind of eager to look into and discuss is Karlan Grant. Should Errol Bullitt look to bring him back? Let's look at some of the stats, the pros, the cons, everything in between, because he does split opinions, I think it's fair to say. Guys, in the meantime, while you're here, can you hit that bell to click the subscribe button? Really helps us out a lot. Also, drop a comment, give us your opinion on the content, the video, any suggestions for content. Helps us out massively to move up the algorithm and obviously find more Cardiff City fans and stuff like that. But in terms of on with the video, as it were, last year for Cardiff City, Karlan Grant played 40 games in all competitions, scored 6 goals and got 3 assists, which I don't think tells the complete story. But one of the things that I've really focused on a lot over the last couple of weeks when I've been talking about potential signings and players is signing players who are available for selection a lot. Because unfortunately, what we as a club tend to have a habit of doing, we end up with players who spend a lot of time out injured. We have a player like that, obviously, in Aaron Ramsey. We know he's at that point in his career where he's not going to play 45, 50 games. Same with Joe Rawls. So what we need with signings, whether they're loan or permanent signings, is they need to be players who are available and available often. Karlan Grant is regularly available. He works extremely hard, and he's also very versatile. He played predominantly off the left for Errol Bullitt last year for Cardiff. One thing he did a tremendous job of doing was protecting Jamalu Collins, particularly as Jamalu came back from injury and stuff. Guy was a bit nervous, maybe wasn't as confident as we hoped to see this year. What he did do was he gave him a lot of protection. He worked hard, he worked back, and I think that is obviously a great attribute in a team. It's a team sport, and you want players that are committed and work hard. He's clearly an Errol Bullitt player by his attitude. He never moaned, never complained, worked incredibly hard, as I said. In terms of his attributes, I think he's really good on the ball. Can dribble, can pass, got a bit of pace about him as well. I was a little bit disappointed with his finishing last year. Like, he scored a couple of crackers, don't get me wrong, like real good goals. That volley in particular was, superb. But he did miss some one-on-one chances. And I wonder whether that's a little bit because he's playing out wide and he's not playing centrally, and he's getting those chances. But it's an interesting discussion to have, because Errol Bullitt obviously fancies him as a left winger. I think that was clear, and he only really played him through the centre area when he absolutely had to, or we were chasing a game and stuff like that, and then said, oh look, it doesn't work. But I think it was a bit more complex than that and a bit more nuance to it. I do think he's the sort of striker that can work in the system that Errol Bullitt plays. Errol Bullitt likes to play out from the back, possession football, and I think when you've got the right number 8 alongside Siopis, and you've got Ramsey or Colwell in the 10, if we can get a couple of traditional wingers, or at least one traditional winger, maybe then one inverted, that you can create chances. Someone running in behind like Karlan Grant really suits, and he's not tiny, Karlan Grant, either. He's quite strong physically, so I think he's good enough to get involved in some link-up play and be, the Ramseys, the Colwells, etc. can play off him. But he would offer us something through the middle that the Metes, the Atetes, the Jesus, the Ugbos of last year, they just didn't offer. No one was running in behind. So obviously that's a lot of the kind of pro side of it, and why you could see why he'd be signing. And I think there's obviously there is an element of the fan base who don't fancy him, and they feel that he missed a lot of chances and he's a bit wasteful. One of the biggest issues for me is that he constantly wants to cut inside from the left-hand side. I don't mind inverted wingers if it's the right type of inverted wingers. I don't mind a winger who starts out wide and kind of drifts in and tries to find pockets of space and link up play. I think that can work really well in a possession-based team. However, in a possession-based team, if you're going to have like out-and-out inverted wingers who are just looking to cut in and shoot, i.e. Bowler and Grant, you have to have fullbacks who are going to overlap and underlap and really give us width, because it just all becomes a bit too congested. Karlan Grant averages, actually over the last few years, he averages about a goal every 3 games. However, when you break it down into the different positions he's played over that 2-year period, or in his career actually, he's played centre forward 131 times. He scored 45 goals and 12 assists during playing as a central striker. When he's played off the left wing, he's played 93 times, scoring 30 goals with 8 assists, which is not too bad. It's pretty good. For the left of a 4, like a left midfielder, made 20 appearances, 3 goals, 2 assists, and as a right winger, 10 appearances, 2 goals, 0 assists. So I think from that it's clear that he's more productive off the left-hand side compared to the right-hand side, but he's also probably, it works out just about. So I think when I did it on my calculator earlier, on the left wing his average is about a goal every 2.9 games or 3 games, and then from central striker he averages about 2.85. I think it was something like that. I'm going off memory, but around those figures. It was slightly better through the middle, but generally speaking it's about an average a goal every 3 games. But if you look at it, that's particularly in the last 2 seasons, he's done that in the teams which don't create a lot of chances. Now some would argue that should he have been creating those chances last year? I mean, yeah, probably. Other things that I think potentially go against him signing for us, or whether we should look to sign him again, would be he does make the pitch very narrow when he plays off the left. So if Bullett's looking at him as a left-hand side sort of player, left winger, left forward, I think there's better options in my opinion as a left winger. If we were looking at him as one of our central striker options with the versatility to also play wide or as a 2, then I think it's worth a conversation. I really do, because I think we need probably 2 strikers. We need an out-and-out number 9 who's going to be our number 9, and then we need someone else who can be a backup to that, to change things, to injuries, suspensions. If you need to put an extra striker on, which Grant would fall into. But in terms of game time, you can also give him game time in the wide areas, or if you play 2 up front, because I wouldn't be too disappointed or too surprised if Errol Bullitt switches to a 3-5-2 next year, which I might do a video on over the next couple of weeks on the why I think that, and the pros and cons to it. But certainly Errol Bullitt rates Karlan Grant. He was very, very good. I would like to see a wide player who stays a bit wider, but overall I think he was a plus for Cardiff City. And would I want to use a loan Splott on him for this season coming now? I think probably not. I wouldn't be devastated if we signed him. Like, I think out of the loan players he was pretty good. Him and Phillips were the pick of the bunch. I think Karlan Grant offers a lot defensively going forward. He works hard. I think he could be, again, in that central area as a central striker, like him pressing with a Ramsey or a Colwell around him and a couple of really pacey wingers. I think he can be super dangerous. I think he's capable of linking up the play. He can run in behind, drop in deep. He can run the channels. Like, he can offer a lot of different ways of playing and different ways of creating chances if we get the right players around him. Of course, one of the biggest signings for Cardiff City this year will be a central striker, but I also think one of the biggest signings for Cardiff City this year will be getting the right person alongside Psyopos in that number 8 position. We need squad players. We've lost a few players. We're going to probably sell a couple of players as well. If we could, I know West Brom want to get rid of Karlan Grant, and when it comes down to it, I think his wages are probably out of our, like, what we're looking to pay. Generally speaking, I think, you know, we're probably looking to pay a bit less. However, what I would say is he's 26 years old. He's a good age. If he's really enjoyed his time down here, then I think it's definitely worth having a conversation. I think it really is, because if Karlan Grant is willing to maybe just drop his wages a little bit, come to some sort of, you know, come to a little agreement, you know, a little bit less wage, maybe do some goal bonuses, stuff like that, appearance bonuses, I definitely think it's worth a conversation, because his current market value is about 3 million euros, which is never quite right on transfermarket.co.uk. It's always a bit, you know, here or there. But if West Brom want him off their books, which by all accounts seems to be the reports, he looks like he's got a contract until 2026. So, you know, he's got a couple of years left on his contract. From a West Brom point of view, now is probably the time to sell him if you want to get some sort of money for him. Can we come to maybe a little agreement with West Brom? Who knows? Would I sign Karlan Grant? If we could get him cheap, transfer fee wise, and maybe come to some sort of agreement with the player to lower his wages a little bit, I would be more than happy with Karlan Grant. I think he can be a massive tool for what Errol Bullett's building this year. I think if we switch to 3-5-2, he can play as a second striker. I think he could play as a wing back. I think he could play in an emergency as a number 10. He obviously can play in the wide areas, but I like his attitude, his intensity, his drive. He has the right attributes and the right mentality to be a successful footballer at Cardiff City, to take this team forward, compared to some other players I've seen in recent years, both on loan and at the club. I think his is the sort of mentality that we should be looking to bring in. Someone who wants to work for the badge, work for the fans, work for the players, work for the manager, work for his teammates, and has the capability to have the end product at the end of the day, as proven by his stats throughout his career. He scored, you know, what did I say, 14 goals last year, was it? No, it wasn't that many. He scored 6 goals last year in 40 appearances in a team which creates very, very little, and are playing off the wing. Now, if we played him in the middle and we had the players to create, I think he scores goals. If you could, like, whittle it down, you could do the pros and the cons. Pros, his availability. He's absolutely 100% available most of the time, very consistently available. He's versatile. He can play left, right, through the middle, although I would be looking to sign him as a central striker. He works incredibly hard, as I mentioned, for his teammates, for the badge. Very perfect, by the way, for a real attacking fullback. If he was going to play off the left, if you were to bring in a Cody Dramer or someone of that ilk who's attacking-minded fullback, he is the sort of fullback which would be perfect for that. I think he's probably better through the middle, with traditional wingers causing problems and creating chances. And of course, he is capable of special moments. He is capable of that bit of magic, and it never hurts to have a player like that. In terms of the cons, a goal every 3 games is probably not ideal for a centre forward if that's what you're looking to play him. When he plays wide, he does seem to need more, like he misses chances. Like I say, a goal every 3 games, so he isn't prolific. Bullet seems to rate him more as a winger than a centre forward. So if we did sign him, is it more likely that we're signing him as a winger? And as I say, in that case, I think there's probably maybe some better options for the team. He's when he is a winger, he's an inverted winger, and he tends to cut in and try to score rather than create. Maybe he's a wide forward rather than a winger. And really, we need a centre forward or a winger. We don't really need wide forwards. Got enough of them. But yeah, guys, you tell me what you think. Would you be disappointed if we signed Karlan Grant for next year? year, whether it be on loan, whether it be as a permanent deal. Let me know in the comments. Let me know which other players we should talk about.